All right, we're headed north on Marigold Drive. On the left, that's actually a small part of the Barclay Conservation Area, which is really close to the property. We're looking at Tract 2 at Riverside at the Niangua. This is a gorgeous property. I'm excited to do this video. So as we get closer to the property on Marigold, a pretty good landmark that you'll see coming up on the left here is this old wooden building of some sort, either a shop or garage or an old granary. This was one big large farm a couple hundred years ago, and that's what's one of the remaining things from that. That's a pretty good landmark. That means we're getting close, actually. We're within about half a mile of the property. So Tract 2 has direct frontage on Marigold, and it gets wider as you move northerly until you get to the north side, where it directly fronts the Niangua River in the White Ribbon trout fishing section of the Niangua River. So extremely popular section of an extremely popular river. And we've got kind of a warm day out here. We're going into summertime. I imagine there will be some floaters on the river, and we'll see that in just a few minutes when we get down that way. So we've got some of the other tracts on the left, on the west side of the road. We are getting closer to Tract 2. And like I said, although it does have direct frontage on Marigold, there's power right there. That's very close. There are some easement roads to get to different sections of the property as well, which is really nice. So actually, as we pull up here, now on the left, you will see a blue gate, and that goes into the tracts and the easement road. What we're going to do first is we'll pull up on Marigold so you can see the actual road frontage on Tract 2 on Marigold, and then we'll backtrack, we'll go through that gate, and we'll take a really good look at the property today. Okay, so let me check this here. As the road starts to curve to the right, okay, I'm thinking I've got my MapRight app with me as well. So right where this road curves, that's Tract 2 on the left there. You can actually see a survey stake up there. So it does have direct road frontage. You certainly could put a driveway and an approach in here if you wanted to. Looks to me like maybe a day worth of dirt work with a piece of equipment. The culvert that you'd drop in would be about $200. So I mean, you could potentially have $1,000 into it by the time you're said and done, but then you would have your own driveway coming off of Marigold, which is fine. But the thing is, you've got other ways to access the property immediately. So if you didn't want to mess with that in the near future or ever, you just really don't have to. If we were to continue going north on Marigold for about a quarter mile, we would get to Ho Hum Resort. This area, if you look on the maps, you'll notice it has numerous small and mid-sized resorts, and that's because this is arguably the most popular section of the Niangua River. We're a few miles upstream from Bennett Springs State Park, and that's where they have the trout hatchery. So they raise rainbow and brown trout, they release them into the Niangua River, and then there's about a 12-mile stretch downstream from Bennett Springs State Park where you can actually fish for rainbow and brown trout from your property. And this is one of the tracts with direct frontage on the river in that area. Quite a bit of frontage, by the way. I'll look at the plat map when we get back in here. Okay. When you come to look at the property, let us know, and we'll definitely get you the code for this gate. See if I can remember it here. Come on. Oh, that's not it. Okay, try it one more time. I'm gonna put the phone down 1 second. Technical difficulties here. Not sure why. Usually this pops right open. We usually buy the master locks, and I think the guys bought an off-brand one here, and it's not letting me in. Spin all the dials and we'll try this again. Alright, come on, baby. That's weird. There, okay. I had the combo right, I just didn't have the tumblers correct. Sorry about that. So we've got the gate open. So that's the main easement road that goes off to the left. And this smaller road easement that goes off to the right, that's going to take us more toward the middle of track 2. And that might be where we actually start out. So this will end up being a fairly long video. If you want to jump right to the river frontage, feel free to skip to the end of the video. Because what we're going to do is we're going to look at the kind of the south part of the property, and then we'll pull down to the river and check that out. So we pulled through the gate. We're going to take a right on this little road easement, and you can look at the maps to really see how this is laid out. I'm using the MapRight app, which we highly recommend that you get as well. You can get the free app, and then we'll send you the specific interactive map for track 2. And that's what you can use when you come out here. It's fantastic. You'll see the outlines of the property on your phone or tablet, and there'll be a little dot to indicate exactly where you are. So, for instance, if I were to stop here, looking down at the MapRight app, here's Marigold. We pulled through the gate over here, and we hung a right, and now we're following this road easement, and that's going to take us back over to track 2. And this road easement's kind of handy because this area right here is sort of a small valley. So even if you put an approach in off Marigold here, you'd still have to navigate this valley. Well, this road easement takes you to the north side of that valley, so that's a good thing. And let's go and check that out. Beautiful open meadow here. I mean, the deer and turkey just love it out here. The guys are kind of in the process of getting some gravel on these roads and getting things shaped. They are making progress, but I don't believe they're quite done yet. Okay, now it curves to the right. And like I said, this will take us back to track 2. And these are not public roads. These are private road easements just for property owners. So very, very low traffic situation. These tracks out here were logged within the last 1 to 2 years. You'll definitely see signs of that. I mean, they certainly weren't clear cut. There is timber remaining. The larger commercial trees that were old enough to be harvested were harvested. Okay, so now MapRight shows us that we're crossing back onto track 2. So it's actually on both sides of the road here. And this is toward the south side of the property. Oh, and there goes, what is that bird? Couldn't tell. It looked like a duck. So since this tract included, whoop, ran over a little stick there. Since they get wider as you go to the north, here toward the south side is where it would be more narrow. But even if we get out here and look, now we're looking kind of northerly. I mean, you've got some potential building sites right here on the south side if you wanted to do that. This will be high and dry. This is out of the flood zone, so you wouldn't have to worry about that up here. And then as far as going down to the river, I mean, you could certainly go on foot. You could create your own trail across the entire property, or just have a four-wheeler or a side-by-side or a vehicle, and you can take the easement roads right down toward the water. Now, I've never really had the chance to explore this, so this is the first time I'm seeing this part of the property, and it's actually pretty cool. I mean, if you're looking for a building site that's more or less ready to go, this is pretty slick here. It's fairly flat. It does have a little bit of grade to it. Although if you wanted it perfectly flat, it wouldn't take too much work to do that with a piece of equipment. I mean, you can see the tops and whatnot scattered about, left from the loggers. That's many people tell me that that's a great source of free firewood. I mean, it's a good situation where you can cut your own free firewood and at the same time improve the value of your property. I did not know this area was here. This is really nice. Really, with just some weed whacking or lawn mowing, you would have a nice place to come in and do some camping or whatnot. Oh, there's a deer sleeping there apparently. That's gorgeous. So there's a quick little look at the south end. Now these properties, this tract included, they have been fully surveyed. Generally the surveyors only mark the corners. What we did was we had them do what's called true line marking, where they actually come through and mark the lines every couple hundred feet around the entire boundaries of the property. So that is really handy. Well, for several reasons. If you want to put up a fence, that's good to have that. If you just want to know exactly how things are situated, it's great for that too. I see deer beds all over here. So that's a pretty spot right there. One of the survey markers here. I'm thinking what we'll do now is we'll get turned around and we'll go take a look at the bottom area. And that's going to be the big open meadow and the best part, the river itself. So we'll cruise up here and we'll get turned around. And I think we'll probably have a few people out on the river since we are going into summertime and it's a pretty day. Whoop, come on truck. 4-wheel drive shift in progress. Okay. Turning around in this gravel area here, and the gravel was a little loose. Looking back toward the south, that's that little valley area. And then on the other side of that would be Marigold Drive. So we're going to go back toward, kind of toward the main easement road, and we're going to go down the hill toward the north side of the property. And that's where it does get quite a bit wider. You've got, I've got to look at the survey map because I know this has a tremendous amount of direct river frontage. When I get back up toward the gate here, I'll stop and quickly, hopefully, grab that survey map and see what we're looking at on tract 2 here. Okay. So there's the gate right there. And I know that I did have a survey map at one point. There we go. Okay, so tract 2, this is just over 10 acres, 10.08 acres. And looking at the north side, oh wow, this has over 400 feet of river frontage. That's an enormous amount of river frontage. Okay, I think I'll actually, I'm going to be here for a while, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this gate. And let's head down the hill and we'll take a look at the north side of this property. If you're still with us on this long video, thanks for sticking around. This is a large property with a lot to see, so I had a feeling this video would end up getting fairly long. About to cross under the power line as we head down the hill. Power is in a few different spots. Depending upon where you want it to build would depend upon how the power company got the power to you, but the easements are in place. There are power easements that run adjacent to Marigold Drive and with these easement roads out here. So if and when you need power, you can get it. Now we had quite a bit of rain out here yesterday and the day before. Well, we had quite a bit of rain in Springfield. I assume it rained out here as well. I wasn't out here. So we may see some puddles, and this road may have a few bumps in it. And I don't think our guys are out here working today, although sometimes they surprise me. Sometimes they do get out on the weekends. Okay, so we've come to the bottom, and that's that big, beautiful bottom field. All right, so we came to basically a T in the road. We can go left or right. Left, I can see the guys have some equipment parked, but I don't think they're out here today. We're gonna go to the right to get to track 2. There you can see the power line again. And as we look kind of northerly across that bottom field, at the end of the field would be the Niangua River. I mean, this is just gorgeous out here. The very first time we saw this property, which was actually several years ago, we came down into this bottom field area and just stood here and looked at it for a couple minutes, like, wow, just breathtaking. There we go. Now that is across the river there. I believe that's Maggard's canoe rental. And they probably just opened either this week or last. So when we say this is an in-demand section of river, the proof is in the pudding there as we look directly across the river. But those people have to be content with sharing just a couple hundred feet of river frontage each, whereas you actually own 400 feet of frontage if you happen to be the lucky owner of tract 2. Basically, we just follow this gravel road easement down a little further and we'll be at the property. Generally, you'd want a truck or an SUV. I mean, if it's been raining, these roads could be a little soft. But anytime you're dealing with gravel roads, a truck or an SUV is always your best bet, just because you do have a little extra clearance that you don't have in a car. I mean, you've got some cars where you only have just a couple inches of clearance and it's easy to get hung up on a gravel road. Where with the truck or an SUV, different situation. Man, it's gorgeous out here. If you look on the bluff on the other side of the river, you can see that beautiful house up there. So he's got a nice view, but he doesn't have good access to the water, where here on track 2 you kind of have the best of both worlds. Because if you wanted to build more toward the middle of the property, where the land starts to slope down, you could get that view of the river valley, but you've still got access to the river itself. I mean, you can actually get there where the person in that house, they're not getting to the river. They get to look at the river. They don't get to play in the river or fish or swim in the river. I assume, unless they go way down and around a couple miles to get to Maggard's canoe there. So this is track 3 we're crossing. We're getting really close to track 2. In fact, there you can see a survey stake. cross over. Now we're on track 2. If you look to the north, actually if you look toward the left side of the screen, you can see a couple posts. Those are marking the west line of track 2, headed toward the river. I think the guys were working on a little walking trail to the river here. We'll check that out in a minute. But there was another nice feature on track 2 that I really wanted to take a look at. As you could probably guess, any open meadow like this that's adjacent to a real river is going to be a flood zone. So probably not where you want to build. It's just a big pain. Anytime you can avoid building in a flood zone, you certainly want to do so. So let's take a look here. But I mean, this entire open meadow that we're looking at. Whoa, what happened there? There we go. This is all track 2. As I said, it gets wider where you want it wider, down here by the river. But the other really cool thing I wanted to take a look at was that track 2, we discovered just recently, actually has this little area where there's a trail that goes up. So this, as we go up to higher ground, I mean, you'd want to double check, I'm sure, if you're going to build, but this may get us completely out of that flood zone. So now we're sitting up here. We're substantially higher than that bottom field. I don't know exactly how high, but it feels like we're about 15 feet higher. So definitely a good thing if you're talking about building a little cabin or whatnot, or a home. So this trail continues. This does meander off of track 2, but you've got this area here, which is fairly level. If you want to rent a skid loader, or you have a skid loader or a tractor, I mean, you can do a lot on a property like this in just a few hours with anything that has a loader or a bucket. If you wanted to level this a little more, or push some of the smaller trees out of the way to create more space. But this is one of the big bonuses on this property, we think, in that potentially, I mean, you could have an ideal setup here if you were to do some sort of a little cabin here. I mean, you're looking right down at this gorgeous bottom field, and you really can't see it because the timber's so thick, but right through the trees, that's the Niangua River. And let's go check that out, actually. And here's some happy campers off in the distance. Oh, this is gorgeous. This open bottom field, I mean, it's huge. So talk about a place to have a couple horses, or you could have an unbelievable garden down here. I mean, this is just rich black dirt. Okay. So as we continue going easterly, we're going to eventually now get to the east line of track 2, right about here, and the road continues, and there's a turnaround on track 1. Off in the distance, a couple hundred yards through the trees, that's Ho Hum Resort, and that's the same one we would have gotten to if we continued going north on Marigold. So like I said, very, very popular section of river. And that's why you find these resorts around here. So again, there's some posts. You see one right to the right of the truck, and then off at the tree line, that's the east line of track 2 going north to the river. Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that. Even without the river, this is a prime property. Like I said, the guys had talked about doing some sort of path to the river, so let's see if we can find it. Well, Well, there's a sign in the trees right there that says tract 2. So, I mean, we know we're here. I see what looks like a little trail, but I also saw one up further. So, I don't know. Let's just park here and we'll check this out. We're well on the way to the longest video ever. Track 2. I can hear the river. And in just a minute, we'll be looking at the river. And that's what I'm here for, so that's what I'm excited about. We have never had anything on a river where you could trout fish. I mean, it's extremely rare. Rainbow trout, brown trout, or if you just want to do some bass fishing, or I believe catfish and perch and all that good stuff. Now we're in a really cool, kind of a shady area. We've got a trail that goes down that way. But this isn't the trail I was thinking of. I thought they had a larger one. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I've got to get a little farther over here. Over 400 feet of river frontage. That's craziness. Okay, this is more what I was thinking they had. Whoops. All right, I'm gonna hop down here and we'll have a look at this. Okay, so we just went down the wrong trail. And they've got this marked off with ribbon because it's so soft here. They just did this a couple days ago. There's the truck through the trees. So, I mean, we're still obviously on track 2. And that's going to be the trail that takes us to the river. Finally, after about half an hour of checking it out, we are just about to the river. So if you come on down here, this is really soft because this is black dirt and sand and whatnot. So I recommend parking at the start of this and then just taking your four-wheeler or walking. I mean, it's just a couple hundred feet. And then we're on a gravel bar, basically at the river. Oh man, look at that. That is gorgeous. That is gorgeous. So looking across there, that's one of the campgrounds. Still nice and peaceful here though. We've got a huge gravel bar and sandbar here. Good access right into the river. I mean, this is pretty spectacular. If you want to launch a canoe or a kayak or a raft or whatever. There we go, looking upriver. Got a couple guys in a canoe up there. Wow. The water is usually really clear. Like I said, we had that rain a couple days ago, so it does look like it's stirred up a little bit. But usually, I mean, you can see right to the bottom, basically all the way across, and you can just look at the fish. It's great. Loving these huge gravel bars out here. It's phenomenal. We've got some big upturned trees, probably from a flood either earlier this year or a few years ago. I mean, this is a dynamic river, so it is going to change year to year as the water level raises and lowers. It's beautiful. Let's check out A little more of the frontage going downriver. Since we finally made it here, we might as well check it out. Awesome for swimming, obviously. Awesome for fishing and floating. I'm partial to camping right here on the gravel bars, right by the water. So yeah, as we saw with that little trail the guys did, I mean, for little ones, for kids, or for older people, it is awesome to have direct access on foot right through the river. I mean, it's tough to beat. And this looks like some kind of deer trail here, kind of running with the river. How you doing? Good. Are you catching anything at all?
Nah.
Not today?
If you want to fish and catch anything, you come down here to about the middle of the week.
Okay. Well, your little dog looks like he's having fun.
Oh yeah.
And this frontage just keeps going and going. I mean, 400 feet. That's longer than a football field. I'll just follow this trail and eventually we should run into another survey marker, and that will be about the northeast corner of the property. I noticed on a map that I looked at of the river, there was a tiny section basically of miniature rapids basically adjacent to this property, and I am hearing those. So let's get up there and check that out. Just a tiny little section of what they referred to as rapids, but here you can see it. Tiny bit of whitewater right there. That's pretty cool, actually. And then as we look up above, there's that pretty house up on the bluff. I just don't want to leave. I want to hang out here all day. Stunning. Oh, and actually this is super cool. I didn't know about this. This is kind of a natural, I guess a natural access point to the water. And we are on the property. I can see a survey marker a little further, about 30 feet from me here will be the northeast corner. So look at this right here on the property. We have this beautiful natural area where the gravel just goes gently into the river itself. And that's why the guys were doing that first trail, I bet. They were trying to get to this area. Oh, that is stunning. And that's exactly what they were doing with that first trail that we followed. Because if we follow that back, there we go. This will put us back, should put us right up by the truck. There are deer prints all over this dirt. The deer are super curious when they hear the machinery during the day. I think they wait until you leave at night and then they come out and they check it all out. Yep, and right back to the truck. Okay. So at least a couple good river access points. That is awesome. I really liked track 2 before, but now it's quickly becoming my favorite out here. And right back to the open meadow. Looking back to the south, you can see the little road that goes up the rise where we were earlier. And we're going to do a drone video as well because this is just too nice not to. So go ahead and check out InstantAcres.com. Thank you for sticking with us for what turned into a 35-minute video. If you jumped right to the end, that's fine too. Then you got to see the river. Unbelievable property. Use it, enjoy it. I mean, stuff on the river, wow. In our opinion, that's what you want. I mean, if you're looking at a property to keep, use it and keep it as an investment. River stuff. The hunting land's great as well, but in a beautiful state like Missouri, you've got a pretty good supply of hunting land, and that will continue to go up in value. But the river stuff is so very limited, and we're talking about a named river, specifically a trout fishing section of a named river. There isn't much of this to go around. So grab your piece right now. Check out InstantAcres.com. Let us know if you have any questions. We would love to talk to you about this property.